It's a very good morning to you. Welcome to Asake Online. My name is Zenzele Ndebele, and this is the program Surviving COVID, where we are talking to survivors of COVID, sharing experiences with us, what they went through, and also maybe tips and advice to some people who might not have experienced COVID, or who might actually be saying COVID does not exist, because I've come across a number of people who tell you that COVID is a theory. It's, there's nothing like that. It's just like a flu. But a lot of people are dying, and we still encourage people to social distance, sanitize, and of course, if you have a chance to vaccinate, please do so. So today in the program, I'll be talking to Tamuka Chirimambowa, who will be sharing with us his experience and his journey, with this disease, COVID. Tamuka, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Zenzele.
Yeah, maybe my first question to you is, I would like to congratulate you for, fighting and winning, because some people are not as lucky as you are. But how did it all start?
Actually, how it started, it was almost 2.5 weeks ago. It started I've been doing my normal daily routines, and I had a very, what I can say, programmed schedule. And I had one or two places I can tell you all the places that I've been going to say I've got not more than 5 places that I've been going to within the past 2-3 months, because I've been restricting myself in terms of my movement. But when it started just like an ordinary flu. And it was like that for some time. And when I felt that this flu, and and I think one weekend it actually started, it was almost like around on a Wednesday, Thursday. And then around Friday, it started like kind of intensifying the flu into the weekend. But basically for me, it was like I'm feeling flu. I never thought it could be COVID. But then during the weekend, how I felt my coughing intensified, that's when I said on a Monday, I think I just need to go for testing. And I actually had to brave it, because even to go for testing, the thought of having it and to accept, I said, no, let me just go for testing and just be on the safe side. So when I went and I did my tests, then I collected my results the following day. And when I picked up my results, they were positive.
So at that point, what goes through your mind?
I think the moment it says, I think I remained to be strong. Even when the nurse was counseling me, talking to me, I thought I was strong. But the moment now that I was home and I had been from the doctor with the results and bought medications at the pharmacy, which was prescribed, when I was now at home, and everything automatically changed at home. I had to be self-isolated in my own room, other family members to be isolated from me. The following day, they had to go for testing as well to check if I had not. It just changed things. I think that is the moment. The biggest change to me was psychological. And even now, the coughing, when you cough and you know that this is COVID. Because for me, it was only the coughing which I had as a symptom. In terms of my appetite, it was there. My taste, it was there. Everything else was okay. It was only the coughing, and I didn't even have a fever. So I started even now to feel even some of the symptoms that I wasn't feeling then.
Yeah, you mentioned quite an interesting thing, because now you're coughing, that I'm coughing COVID. And the moment someone mentions COVID, whether it's on radio or it's a message, yeah, so-and-so has died because of COVID, you're now saying, I have this thing. So it's like you're saying, it's now in the mind, because if you had not probably gone to test, you'll be doing your normal business, just saying, no, I have flu. And now you're isolated. You're on your own now, and you're facing this thing now.
Yes, and I think it actually formed the most toughest part. And also when because I'll be having my phone, you're connected in WhatsApp groups, you even hear death messages of very prominent people. People that these are actually well endowed with the means to be able to address this whole issue of COVID. So to me, it became very worrying. And also then coupled with that, okay, yeah, my breathing as well was also, I couldn't breathe seated in any position. The most comfortable position which I could take was to lie on my stomach and, spending the rest of your day and the rest of your night lying on your stomach or maybe seated upright on a chair. It's not a joke. So yeah, it was quite something else, but I think the biggest assault was on my mental being, my mental faculties. And also you begin to think of your family as well. Say, okay, what if things go the wrong way? Does this mean the end of the road for me? What does it mean for my family? What does it mean for my children? All sorts of things creep your mind.
So your family goes for testing. Does any of them test positive?
No, they all came out negative when they went for testing.
Which was a blessing. So how many days were you saying that? I mean, these days I was really down and I was in pain.
I think the moment I took my medications, the most surprising is from the day I took my medication, the first day was really down. The second day was down. But from the third day, I was still down, but I started to feel the changes. And I can say by the fourth day, things had changed. I was able now to begin to take calls. So even on the fifth day, so I can say the 3 days after coming from testing and also started taking the medications, those days were quite critical. Because that's also when it seems like the virus was not like working in overdrive. Maybe it was a reaction to the drugs that I was taking or so on.
Yeah, I like the part where you say, I started taking calls, because what I know is that when you are, when you are really down with COVID, you don't want anything. Chances are you switch off your phone, you go offline, you even your close, maybe you tell one or two friends that, guys, things are bad here, but you just want to be by yourself. And there is the inner, you're talking to yourself. You are debating whether am I surviving here or I'm going.
Yeah, no, so certainly you don't want to be taking any calls, because even talking itself will be very difficult, your voice to come out, etc., your breathing. So the phone, I think, is not the best friend, particularly when you're at the worst moments with the COVID. You would rather try to retreat within your own shell and begin to introspect, think quite a lot.
Yeah, there's the issue of remedies. When you get COVID, you then get a lot of advice, or you remember what you read. You steam, you eat ginger. So for you, what were the home remedies that you used?
Yeah, I think that is one of the most difficult thing to navigate as a COVID patient, particularly advice, what I actually call bush advice or bush medicine. A lot of theorems and a lot of so-called reliefs are suggested to you. And for me, one of the things which I had to do was to resist some of these advice, because you get all sorts of weird suggestions that you should take. And we even face pressures from family members. I remember even people coming to me talking about snaf, bute, that is your igwai, I mean, dog, that, if you take it. And for me, I was trying to relate the science, and then the issue of steaming, even people to know you have to steam 5-6 times a day. Even when people don't interrogate to say, okay, if I steam 6-5, will it still be useful? Won't I be choking myself? Won't I be limiting oxygen on myself? So I think one thing which also helped me was just being a strong personality, that there are certain red lines which I can draw to say no. I would rather stick with science at the moment, because I had to read around COVID, what was happening globally on my laptop, updating internet on the news. And then I had also consulted enough to understand that the drugs which I had taken should be able to help me. And the fact that by my third day I could feel the difference, it actually gave me more boldness or encouragement to stick more to the medications rather than the home remedy. Yes, I would certainly take ginger. I would take things like oranges. I would also drink something like zumbani, because I do used to drink it before. Even ginger, I used to take things like garlic, anything which I thought could boost my immune system, take a lot of vegetables and fruits, I would. But then, of course, I think the major challenge came around the issue of the steaming, even things like onion, things like the snuff, which I talked about, whereby even some of the things I had to question myself to say, do these things really work? Or people just say it. And the difficult thing is that when you're sick, you're bound to do almost anything. If people advise you, even if they tell you that no, drink cow dung or elephant dung, you will, because you'll be wanting to heal. But sometimes I think there's also this need also to rely a bit more on science and proven techniques. And even if they are home remedies as
I think I lost you a bit there. So I want you to continue where you are talking about the pressures of using, all these traditional medicines. That's where we stopped.
Yes. Yeah, the last time I was talking about to say you also get pressures from family and friends in terms of doing all these home remedies, traditional medicines. But to me, I think there's always a need to strike a fine balance between these, because sometimes when you actually when you are tracking the medications, you'll be having quite a cocktail of drugs, but you also don't want to overload your body, that is your organs, say they end up having an overdose, because some of this you need to be really very mindful. So it is up to you as well as an individual to say which path are you going to take. I wouldn't be prescriptive, but for me, I thought I would rather stick to science, because when I looked at the drugs that I was taking, and also noting that I didn't want to overload myself and create complications, I said I would rather stick with what I've been given at the doctors. Then the home remedies, I would limit it to things like eating your ginger, your garlic, bringing warm water, and then, of course, maybe steaming twice a day, maybe in the morning and in the evening, and then without overdoing it. Yeah.
Yeah, what you are saying is quite important, because I've talked to medical doctors who are saying, some people come with, having been bent by the steam. Other people would have, overdone these things, and you're already, having difficulties in breathing, and you're choking yourself with onions, or you're actually steaming and blocking the leaky airways that you already have. So I think people need to be careful that whilst the home remedies reduce some of the COVID symptoms, maybe blocked nose and all those kind of things, but we also need to do them to a certain limitation. One of the things that I've talked to people with COVID, and my own experience is that, there are times when COVID changes you in a certain way. When you are there, you are sick, you're thinking, when I recover, I'm going to do this. You see life differently because you're on the edge. You can win or you can go. How has this experience changed your life?
Yeah, certainly the experience changes how you see life and how you approach it, because certainly you'll be on the edge and you don't know whether they're going to make it or not. But I think one thing which it has done also to me is to begin to give me a chance after this, where I to reevaluate what I've been doing and also begin to measure to say some of things which I've been doing, are they worth it? And also in terms of where I want to go in terms of my life, how far have I gone? It has actually taught me to say, while we've got plans, we've got life, we want to go with it. One thing which we don't own is time, and we don't know when. It has actually made me to begin to become more serious, to begin to revise certain things which I've been taking for granted, and as well as to begin to not say, okay, in as much I'm in this world, I don't have as much time as I think. Death can strike you at any time. So I think it has given me a different sense of purpose, a renewed purpose of life, and even my approach to things.
Yeah, that is quite powerful. To say one thing that we don't have is time, and you start remember, even the Bible says we don't know the hour and the time. And you realize that it can be any time. But yourself, were you vaccinated? Because we've had some people saying no, I won't get vaccinated. Others have been vaccinated, but have you had the chance to be vaccinated?
Yes, I actually had a chance to be vaccinated. I actually took chance during the first stages when there was skepticism over vaccination. And I remember when I went for vaccination, I never even spent more than 3 minutes at the vaccination center. And I actually had my second jab on the 28th of May. So I've done all my doses. And I do strongly believe that if I had not been vaccinated, it could have been a different story. Maybe we would not be having this conversation. Because even for me, the recovery period, it took me to recover, and how I responded to the medications was surprising. A lot of people, even my sister, where she works, because she has been staying with me when she moved here to Harare, because she didn't have anywhere to stay when she got a job. People at her workplace were surprised. Some of us will sleep for more than 3 weeks, and your brother, just in a matter of within 5 days of going down, he recovers like that. We wish we could have his genes, etc. But for me, I do believe the vaccinations work, they help a lot. I know people, they think that maybe when you get a vaccination, you cannot fall sick, but you will fall sick. But I think what happens is that the vaccination helps. Because for me, I look that I'm a diabetic person. I've been living with diabetics for a long time, but I didn't have any complications as somebody with comorbidity, as it is usually said. And the fact that I also managed to recover from home without any hospitalization, I think it also speaks to the efficacy of the vaccinations.
Yeah, you mentioned something that you've made me realize actually that I've been talking to people who had COVID since last year. On average, last year, people will tell you that before the vaccinations were much more popular, people go for 10 days, 14 days, others almost a month down with COVID. But for all the people that I've talked to who have been vaccinated, no one has been down for more than 5 days. Day 5, most of them are now feeling much better. And most of them will be down for 3 days or so. And they will normally tell you 2 or 3 days, I was feeling bad. After that, after taking my medication, I become better. So I think this is something that is positive when we are looking at the vaccination, to say, well, it seems it works. We need more evidence, but clearly there is anecdotal evidence that it works.
Yes, the anecdotal evidence is there, and I think it's good to be vaccinated. And even when I look that my wife is also vaccinated, and surprisingly, when you share the same bedroom, the same bed, we stayed together when I thought it was flu, when it was COVID. But funny enough, she survived it. So I think vaccines do work quite a lot, and people really need, if they get an opportunity to get vaccinated, I would encourage them, go and get vaccinated.
Yeah, I think I would like to thank you and end on that note of you encouraging people to go and get vaccinated, because I still know that there are people who don't believe in vaccines. There are some people who still don't believe in COVID. But surely 2 years after this pandemic has actually hit Zimbabwe and other countries in Africa, we should be realizing that something is wrong. And also we are losing a lot of loved ones. Every day there's a funeral somewhere. And Tamuka, I would like to thank you for giving us this opportunity to share with us your story of recovery, and wishing you more life.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. This was the program Surviving COVID, and today I was talking to Tamuka, who was sharing with us his story and his journey. And clearly, I want to say, for everyone that I've talked to who have been vaccinated, most of them have not struggled for more than a week. It has been an average of 3 to 5 days they are down. After that, they are up. And I will really encourage more people to get vaccinated. My name is Zenzele Ndebele. Till we meet again in other programs, have a good day.